Nation. The hobby is the people. Weekly news and interviews. It's your number one source. Sports Card Nation. The hobby is the people. Sports Card Nation.
Welcome to another stocked and loaded episode of the Sports Card Nation podcast, the show that brings you all the important hobby news, discussions, debates, opinions, info, and interviews with key hobby and sports dignitaries. Also, if you're good, you know we are going to give away something. Now, here's the guy that wanted the cards more than the gum. John Newman.
What is up, everyone? Episode 113, back again for another week of Sports Card Nation podcast. Happy to be back. We're here on our new platform at Spreaker. Want to say everything is going swimmingly. Glad to be part of Spreaker Prime, doing very well. We're on more podcast platforms. Some I've never even heard of, but that's fine. More opportunities for people to find the show, download the show, and get that content we offer. Today's guest is no stranger to this show. He's been on this show twice before. Artist extraordinaire Blake Jamieson will be our guest today. We're going to put a little bow tie on the Project 2020, talk about his new project that's all his, which is the 1951 Topps cards, 4 waves of those, and Project 70, which has been announced by Topps. He'll tell us what he can, and he doesn't even have all the details himself, but he'll share what he can. And like I said, he's doing his own series there for Topps with the 1951s. Very, very cool. Blake has agreed to give away a Wave 3 of that 1951 set that he's doing for Topps. During the interview, you will hear a contest word. Please privately either email, DM, get that word to me. Everyone that gets that contest word to me, I'll put you on a list. I'll randomize the list, roll the dice, and whoever's name is at the top of that randomization is going to win a free 1951 Blake Jamieson Wave 3, courtesy of the artist himself. And remember, with these, not besides the 13 cards, you got a good chance at a parallel. There's all sorts of numbered cards in there. So, definitely listen to the interview. It's a great interview anyway, whether you win that Wave 3 or not, and listen for that contest word. Get that contest word to us here at Sports Card Nation, and you'll get on that list to potentially win a Wave 3 set. So, with that being said, let's not delay. Let's get this thing going.
Sports Card Nation podcast is your weekly hobby and sports podcast. Now on tons of platforms including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and many more. Listened to in 44 different countries globally, Sports Card Nation is one of the most interactive podcasts around, providing great content, giveaways, and some of the hobby's best interview guests without time constraints. Thousands can't be wrong. We want to thank all the wonderful listeners around the world, our awesome guests on the show, and our tremendous sponsors making us what we are today. Remember, without you, there's no us.
Time for this week's incoming product releases. All right, let's get to what's coming out this week. Topps flagship baseball. It's 2021 season, folks. Spring is at least down the turnpike here on the 10th. 2021 Topps Series 1 baseball is out. Always a kind of a unique feeling, as we know spring's around the corner when that gets released. Same day, 2020, Upper Deck Marvel Ages. Also on the 10th, 2020, Donruss Optic Football Hobby. Same day, the 10th, 2020, Donruss Optic H2 Hobby Hybrid Football. On the 12th, 2020-21, Leaf in the Game Used Hockey. And on the 15th, 2020, Onyx Nimbus Collection Baseball. So we're starting to see the 2021 year, of cards come out, and the new baseball will be out this week. What remains to be seen with the flagship is the shelves going to be cleared off with this stuff, or is it going to be a product that you'll be able to go in, grab a blaster or two or three? That's what I'm curious to see. Is it going to be just scarfed up in complete display purposes? So hopefully not, because I'd like to open some. And again, to be determined. Let me know in your neck of the woods if you got your hands on any, at least in the wild and on the retail end of things.
Sports Card Nation presents Real Men of Doofus. Real Men of Doofus. Today we salute you.
Cook groups. Yeah, you cook groups, the ones that make it bad where we can't get products like White Sparkle and you go and hoard everything. I know you're trying to help some folks out, but again, you're charging people an arm and a leg to be in your group, and then you charge people on top of that over MSRP. And you know what most people think of your bots. Cook groups, you try to be design yourselves as a good thing, but when you really boil it down, you're not good for the hobby. We don't need you. Get out of here. It's time for the Hobby What's Up, where we go around the hobby world and tell you all the latest news and breaking stories from the hobby we love.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? If you smell what the
Tops.
is cooking.
What's Tops cooking? How about wrestling now in living set form? What was just baseball and Star Wars is now wrestling as well. Tops' first two cards coming out this week for living set wrestling. By the way, did anyone catch that the living set has raised in price from $7.99 to $11.99? Might be a deal breaker to some. Be interesting to see what these print runs do with that price increase. But yep, Tops is in the wrestling. So living set is in now Star Wars, wrestling, and baseball form. The unmistakable sound of the baseball organ is to signify, hey, baseball season's right around the corner. Spring training's right around the corner. And how do we know? Well, Topps flagship comes out, right? And in this case, it's the Topps 2021 edition. No million card rip party this year, but they're still having a toned down rip party with the pandemic. The usual suspects in the flagship line with the parallels, but also this year to celebrate Topps' 70th anniversary, there'll be 70th anniversary inserts and parallels. Some new things this year as well. History of Topps will be a 10-card insert set. Story in service. Double headers will be an insert set. Platinum player die cuts. 1986 inserts, 1951 All-Star box toppers, the 70 buyback cards. They are buying a big-time card from each of the 70 years. They are having the players, I believe, sign it, or if they can, and they're going to be 101, stamped 101, so there'll be 70 101 buybacks. The 52 Topps Reduct inserts, Cody Bellinger will be the insert set exclusive to Target, 30 cards there. Plenty of relics are back as usual, including the Reverence relics that are only numbered to 10 or less. Autos will be in 70 Years of Baseball, the 1986 inserts, and the relics will be also in the 86 insert sets as well. And also spring training cap logo patches. And I saw on the spec sheet a nice Alonso autographed one with the Mets logo. Those look really, really sharp. So baseball right around the corner. We always know that when the flagship comes out, and you can smell the fresh cut grass as we speak. Also, one other thing, Topps is putting 25 of these randomly in the Topps flagship products this year, unique experience tickets. So 25, I believe, not just in Series 1, but in Series 2 and maybe update as well. Doesn't say where or when or what, but it does say about, getting to meet and hang out with some baseball players. So to be determined. Maybe Jeter, maybe Griffey. Who knows? We'll see. And the odds of pulling that very slim, but be really cool. It's kind of the equivalent of the Willy Wonka golden ticket, as I said last year. Beckett, a lot of more fake holders are showing up, mostly out of China. Be careful. Jeremy Murray went on with Eric Norton. He's the in charge of the Beckett grading division. Kind of went over what to look for to spot a Beckett fake slab with the patent number in the back. It's too prominent on the fake ones. The flips, where the information of the card is the font is different. Also, the flips the real ones are cut from a serrated sheet, so they should have, it's sometimes hard to tell, but sort of a serrated edge. And the fake ones are kind of squared off. And if you get a chance, you can watch that video. It was informative. My only problem with it is Beckett didn't get out in front of this a little bit sooner when the story broke. And truthfully, this is not necessarily their fault. If someone is making fake copies, that's really not their fault. There's plenty of 2011 Trout update fakes out there. That's not Topps' fault. We got to blame the people who are doing the criminal activity and not the companies themselves. But where I'm going to pick on Beckett a little bit here. I thought they could have got out in front of this sooner. Even if they couldn't comment a lot, just say, hey, we know about it. We're talking about it and taking care of it internally, and we'll speak about it when we gather more facts. They could have did something like that. They really didn't do that. It kind of came out a little later. But they didn't duck anything, and Jeremy, was very forthright and informative as to what to look for to spot the fake slabs in the wild. So maybe hopefully you don't get burnt. And then and in their defense, this is not the first company it's happened to. It was a PSA thing a few years back as well. So. A lot of times, if it's the old adage, if the deal is too good to be true, it probably is. And one thing he said that I'll nitpick on him a little bit. They said they haven't really changed their slab, but I believe he said 20 years, and that's a little too long with the technology that we have here in 2020, 2021 probably should have, been a little bit more ahead of that curve. We've seen PSA, we've seen SGC do 2 or 3 slab and flip upgrades in the last 4 or 5 years. So Beckett seems to lag a little bit in that category, but he did announce they are working on some anti-counterfeit technology. So look for a new BGS slab or flip probably soon coming out. The hobbyverse continues to be set ablaze. We saw the Jordans spike after the Last Dance, then they kind of leveled off. And we see them now, at least on the rookie side of things, they are going back up. Well, we've seen 2 recent golden auctions set records for graded Jordan rookies. And now we're seeing the Trout updates spike as well. And so now that, the question always is when things like this occur in the last few years is who or what player or what card is going to be the next to, get these spikes or get these bounces. And I'm a firm believer. I'm not a secretive. I'm very transparent in what I'm purchasing if someone asks me, or sometimes I'll share it on the content side as well. I think when you look at the players from that era in the 90s, right? Ken Griffey Jr. comes to mind as a really undervalued player, and even his upper deck in graded form is going up. But I think you're going to see even a lot of his shorter print parallels and inserts from the 90s. Those are starting to go up in price as well. So you're seeing a little bit of probably a buying frenzy on those. I think he's still undervalued as well as for what he for the great player he is. And he played in an era where a lot of these players, let's be real, were juicing up, and he was never lumped in. He was never accused, and I don't believe that he did any of that performance enhancing stuff. And so when you look at his numbers, and he got injured towards the back end of his career as well. Some injuries started to mount up. But when you look at his compiled numbers, even with all amongst those variables and factors, non-juicer, kind of got injured late, and you still look at his body of work, just amazing, and I think undervalued, one of the greatest baseball players to ever play, and not just offensively, but even in the outfield defensively. How many times did we see him climb the wall and rob a home run, or come in and dive and lay out and steal a base hit or a double? And just amazing talent, both sides of the ball, and love the game. Was having fun out there, and again, I'm not even being a New York guy, a New York kid. I always loved the way Griffey played, smiling, and did it the right way. And so I've been buying some of his stuff, and I think you're starting to see a few other people get on the bandwagon. So to me, he's sort of like that guy that has room to improve price-wise, value-wise, if you will. But we're seeing those spikes continue. It's almost like electrical current, right? Bouncing from one to another point. And I think Griffey's going to get some of that love, and we'll see who else or what else might be a benefactor of what's going on right now. All right. Collectible, the fractional shares company, is their secondary market will be live, or if not already when you hear this this announcement, or very soon afterwards. They're going to be the first fractional company to offer a secondary market. And I know a little bit about it, but I'll save that. Our guest next week on Sports Card Nation is Collectible CEO Ezra Levine. So we're going to talk a little bit about that on next week's show. But by the time you're hearing this, their secondary market may be public, and that'll be interesting to see and check out as well. Remember those 8 packs of 1952 Topps Series 1 at the National in Chicago in 2019? Yeah, the ones with that $575,000 price tag that we all joked on social media who wanted to go splitsies on it. Well, you're not going to be able to do that. They have been sold. Baseball Card Exchange, they didn't announce who the buyer is. They wanted to remain private. But the transaction has been made. They did announce that it was a combination of cash and trade. So a cash trade has gotten the deal done. Those 8 packs of 1952 Topps Series 1 have been purchased or acquired. Again, no mention of who the new owner is. Whether the packs are going to be open, remain sealed. Hopefully that information comes to light. And if the new buyer is going to open those, man, I hope they make that public. It'd be a fun watch to see 8 1952 Topps packs get open.
The Sports Card Shop at MoCo is your small-town local shop with a global reach. Conveniently located in New Buffalo, Michigan. We're an easy drive for most residents in Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio. Come see us every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5 and Sundays from 12 to 5. Want to shop from the comfort of your home? Give us a call at 269-469-0140 or visit our website at thesportscardshop@moco.com or our Facebook page. Major credit cards and PayPal accepted, and we ship anywhere in the world. We're an authorized dealer for both Panini and Topps, with new sealed wax from both arriving weekly. And yes, we have PSA and SGC graded cards and over 250,000 singles in stock. Be sure to follow us and turn on notifications for posts to Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you don't miss out on new arrivals. The Gocher family has been serving this community for over a decade, so stop by or visit us at thesportscardshop@moco.com.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Commence interview sequence.
Happy to have this next gentleman on the show on the 101 Card Shop guest line. This is his 3rd appearance. I think we should just call this Sports Card Nation with John and Blake, or I'll give them Blake and John. But a man that needs really no introduction, artist extraordinaire, Blake Jamieson. Blake, welcome back.
Thanks, man. Thanks, John. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you. So, man, you got so much going on. It's almost like, where do I start? But I'll start with, I know it's a topic you've talked, probably ad nauseum about, but it was a huge success of 2020, and that's the project 2020. It came to a close about a month ago. Just some of your thoughts as that's kind of in the books.
Yeah, man, it was an awesome year. Exceeded my expectations. I think it exceeded everyone's expectations. So it was definitely a success in my book. I think it was really fun to develop relationships with some of the other artists, see art kind of evolve, see my own art evolve throughout the 20 cards. I think that my last card, Bob Gibson, was one of my strongest. Visually, I think it was probably the strongest. My favorite was still Mark McGwire, just because I love that card. But I think that's really cool to have like my last card be my kind of favorite one, stylistically speaking. And that's great kind of with the momentum rolling into 1951 set and Project 70 and so forth. It was pretty surreal to, submit my final card to Topps. Once I clicked send, that was like, a moment. And then it was when I got the last cards from Top, I actually got them in the mail and opened them all up and looked for the gold and didn't find it. But that was the last Topps 2020 boxes I will open. Yeah, it's just it's wild, man. Just launched my last autographs, doing the autos on the Bob Gibson cards. So it's been was a really fun year.
Yeah, and I know obviously every piece of that project that you did, they're all your babies, and I think anyone can understand that you have a personal connection with McGuire, so there's sentimentality there. Here's probably a question. I don't know if you've been asked this before, kind of a different question. They're all great works of art, obviously. Is there one like like if you could have a mulligan? I'm not saying you would, but if you had to pick one now that it's all said and done, and like, hey, I wish I would have did that, or now that I know, that sort of thing, I'd change it up.
Good question. I don't know. I think Willie Mays. Willie Mays is in my 1951 set too, so I did get to do him again. So it was really fun doing that again. And actually, I can't remember. It might have actually been the same reference photo. It's definitely a very different looking card. So I guess if I have to choose one, I'll choose Willie.
Okay.
But I did kind of get a mulligan with my next set and did it again.
Yeah.
So I think it's fun to, like I said, like watching the art evolve is part of the magic.
Yeah, and I've always said, as someone's been in the hobby a long, long time, while it came to the forefront this year, art's always been a huge part of cards, and from the photography end to even the cards like the traditional ones like the 53, where art was a huge part. It's nice to see it kind of take the forefront again and get back in the spotlight and that sort of thing. Speaking of the art world, one of the things this project did is sort of merge those two worlds, the art world and the hobby world. How much now that it's over and again in the books, how much of an impact? I mean, the hobby, arguably the best year in hobby history, but how much did it affect, do you think, being you come from the art side, did it trickle into the art side? In other words, people that weren't necessarily card collectors became from that world, got into the hobby.
Sure. I think a bunch of my art collectors started collecting the baseball cards, and that's fun. And some of them had grown up collecting cards and then fallen out of the hobby for a while. And some had never collected baseball cards ever, and they have gotten into it. So that was a fun bridge to get across. And now, with the other sets, I feel like I have a really strong collector base, both from the hobby and also from like my art collector side.
No, I think we've seen some of that crossover, if you will, probably even both ways. I know people, have bought some of your other works prior to Project 2020 that were from the card side. So that's great to hear those stories. Before we get into the 51s, let's talk about Project 70. It hasn't officially launched yet. If I know I talked to you real briefly before we came live, and if three people describe it and you don't know what's accurate, what it is, and that. So I'll let someone on the inside, as much as you can say,
sure,
kind of describe what the project is going to be about.
No problem. Well, Project 70, which was just announced by Topps, is kind of the next evolution of Project 2020. So I think there was a lot of really cool things that happened because of Project 2020, and some of that was like shining light on a lot of amazing artists that could have potentially been involved in a set like this. And so now this time around, we have more artists, which is really exciting. I'm excited. I don't even know who they all are yet. But Lauren Taylor is a great example. She's someone that I think would have done great in Project 2020. Now she's in Project 70, and I think that she's going to kill it. Similarly to Project 2020, we're each going to be designing 20 cards, which means the set's going to be pretty big. As far as I know, we're going to be at the same price point as Project 2020 was. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think we're going to be in that. I think it's going to be 130 point cards again. Same price point. Since there are more artists, I believe we're also doing 3 cards per day, Monday through Friday, instead of 2. We'll start with 3. And one of the big differences, and this I think is really the most fun difference, is us artists get to choose our subjects. And then after we choose our subjects, we get to choose the reference photos that we use to create the art, to create our cards. And we also get to choose kind of inspiration, because this whole set is highlighting 70 years of Topps creating baseball cards. And so we are drawing inspiration from all 70 years of Topps kind of flagship card designs. And so, for example, I've got my first card is a modern player, but I'm doing him in the style of a 1959 card. And so it's going to be really fun. It's a lot different from Project 2020 because we have so much freedom and flexibility to choose our subjects that, like, every artist I've talked to, we all have a lot of the Mike Trouts, the Jeters, Griffey. Like, I think those ones are going to be common and in a lot of people's sets, but there's also like so much opportunity for having very unique, cards. Like, there's a couple that I chose that I hope out of all the artists, like, I'm the only person that chooses those players, but who knows?
I'm going to venture a guess. We're going to see a McGuire.
You will see a McGuire.
But, one thing that the Project 2020 bore out with you is you're very interactive with the hobby, with the fans. And the beautiful thing about this project is you can pick the subject of your choice. And that's nice. I think that's going to be very refreshing. I think, like you said yourself, I think that's what's going to separate it from Project 2020. Do you see, or maybe you already know the answer to this, do you think it'll be where you'll say, hey, I got these three guys, I'm thinking, and almost let the hobby or the people kind of vote on maybe who you select, or are you allowed to do that?
Unfortunately, all of us artists have already turned in all of our selections.
Oh, okay. All
right. My 20 are locked in. Sorry, it's really loud on my corner. This one. That's okay. Yeah, so that part, and same thing with the reference photos too. I've already chosen all those and sent those to Top, sent the requests for the licensing, and then they've gotten me the high-res images. So we're pretty far along. And I'm also thinking with this project, different from Project 2020, is I'm going to try and get my cards done well in advance rather than doing it up until right before it's due. I've already finished 2 cards so far, and I'll probably do a third by Monday. And so I'll have 3 already done out of 20, which is really cool since, none of them will have launched yet. And I'll be kind of hopefully smooth sailing.
It's funny you mentioned that. I was blessed and fortunate enough to have 10 of the Project 2020 artists on the show, and wow. I won't mention them because I don't know if it would get him in trouble. He didn't say it on the air, but one of the artists, said that he had all 20 done like pretty quickly in. Yep. But he also said, hey, there was a few that I went back and did enhancements on, or there even mentioned one that I just kind of redid it after I looked at it. I didn't like it. I went back to the drawing board. And so, it's funny hearing, the different artists, their approach to the project is, no two are really alike. You have your own, quirks and attention to detail and how you operate and do things. And that's what I think separates a lot of the artists too. So, but it's nice to hear that you can kind of pick your subjects. And I think that makes it more fun to you. Not that it wasn't fun to do, but now that you have that selection, that you can make, it opens it up a little bit more for the artist. We're going to step away for a quick break with a word from one of our sponsors, but we'll be right back with Blake Jamieson. Pastime Marketplace offers a line of durable graded card cases made for collectors who want high-quality graded card storage that is virtually indestructible. Their cases are waterproof, dustproof, airtight, and designed to protect your valuable collection. Check them all out at www.pastimemarketplace.com. Protect your best with the best. And remember to save 10% off your total order. Use the promo code SCN10. That's capital S, capital C, capital N, 10 for 10% off your total order at pastimemarketplace.com. Sports Card Nation is back with Blake Jamieson. I'm hearing a rumor. I don't know if you can confirm or deny it. One of the early reports was Snoop Dogg is involved in Project 70.
Yeah, as far as I know, that is true.
Okay.
But until Topps puts out the master list,
Yeah.
I never know. But as far as I know, I believe that to be true, which would be, I think, really exciting. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, that would be different. I think that'll be, obviously that's a huge name across the entertainment, music, and now if it goes into the art, music is art. So you can call him an artist already in a different form. And now getting into the card aspect would be interesting to see what comes out there amongst all the artists too. Do you know? Do you have like a number of how many artists may be involved?
I have no idea. I just know it's more than 20.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I really, I don't know. And I'm antsy for Topps to put out the list because I want to start reaching out, and making friends with all the artists. And selfishly for me, I know it's tough on collectors to keep track of, but I think the more the better. Seeing more variety, more inspiration would be really cool. And I'm probably going to end up, I don't think I'll do a full set, but I will do probably quite a few of the artists,
Yeah, and you mentioned something I'm definitely on my list to talk about. You've become a content creator in your own right. You do lives, I believe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You have conversations and interactions with many of the artists, even artists outside, obviously, of the Project 2020 that just finished. What your thoughts on people who don't do podcasts or live video don't realize some of the time commitment and the work that goes into it. And here you're doing that and the artwork and everything else. I mean, I don't know when you sleep, but, speak to a little bit of the content creation side of what you do. And I think it's, number one, I want to kudos to you. I think it's great. I've watched a lot of it myself and to see, two artists kind of banter back and forth. It's definitely interesting. But speak to kind of, what you thought of before you kind of jumped in? Was it just your overall opinion in doing it?
Yeah. Well, I've always known that sharing content is important. I worked in digital marketing and content marketing prior to becoming an artist. So I kind of had that. I've had that like built into my business strategy from the start. With the live streaming, it was not intentional to become such like a big part of my content platform as it did, but I did a live stream painting my Ricky Henderson card pretty early in the project last year, and people just really responded really well to it. And so that was enough motivation to just keep doing it. And for a while I was doing it every day. And then finally we started to get some structure. So every Monday was Mail Monday, and Fridays was artist interviews, and Wednesdays was usually painting something. It's good because I could oftentimes double dip between like creating live content, sharing the process with the fans, but also doing the work that needs to be done. So whether it's painting, like the Ricky Henderson card, or cutting one of the stencils, or signing cards to get ready to ship them out. So it was a fun way to engage the audience and also like provide them with a consistent, like, it's live, so it's real time. They get to know what's going on behind the scenes a little bit. And then on top of that, my team also, like, we've filmed everything from the beginning, and we still film every day. And a lot of that footage has never been seen by anyone but us. And some of it hasn't even been seen. We've never even watched it back. So that's another thing that we're going to do this year is we're going to start putting out some more produced and edited content from that footage. And that's going to be exciting because then I think we're really going to be able to tell that whole story much more than what people just saw on Instagram or even on the live streams.
Yeah, the archive. And you touched on another thing. I believe, I hope I'm not disrespect. You were the first one involved in the project that really sort of opened that door and got that buzz. I'll say it, whether, you give yourself credit, I'll give it to you. I think you started some of the buzz on that project. I mean, I think the work obviously speaks for itself, but as far as the social media side of it, you really got that thing rolling. And, I think a lot of the success of the project can be pointed back at you doing that, when no one else did it first. You really were the first one. And so, credit there for doing that.
Thank you.
So,
you're welcome. I think, because of my background in digital marketing, rather than like going to art school and the technical training, I think part of the reason that I've been able to have, moderate levels of success as an artist is because I try to play to my strengths. And so, in this case, I know that I'm probably better at social media marketing than I am at painting some things. And to me, that's okay. I continuously want to get better at both. But if I do the best I can at painting and do the best I can at marketing, and that helps get the word out, then, seems to be a formula that's working so far.
Yeah. No, you've really kind of come to the forefront and taken the lead. And I think it's been wonders for the project. And I think it's led, I think it's led into some of these other projects we're seeing now. And the one you're working on, that's your baby. I want to talk about that. That's the Topps 51s. Before we get into it, Blake's been generous enough. He's going to give a Wave 3 box to one lucky listener. Later on in this interview, I'm going to give you a contest word. When you hear that contest word, get that back to me on any social media. Keep it private unless you want to compete with the everybody, give it away for free. Message me that contest word. I'll put everyone that does on a list. We'll randomize it. Whoever's on the top will be the lucky winner of a Wave 3 box, courtesy of Blake. So, Blake, first off, thank you for doing that. I appreciate that. And so let's talk about, when did this when did you know this was something that you might be doing, timeline-wise?
Sure. Well, when Topps, I guess it was like around Memorial Day, right? When the Project 2020 was just a rocket ship. It was like a bubble that would never burst. It was like around then, I think, that Topps started talking to us artists about working together on future projects. And it was a long time of just kind of casually over email spitballing ideas back and forth. One of the early ideas that we were talking about was doing like a T206 set myself, like my own wave. And I thought that was a really cool idea. I love like those, the vintage cards I think are really fun, and artistically that's like fun to work with. And so at first I thought it was going to be that. And I actually created quite a few paintings in that space, partially to be ready just in case that got approved. When that didn't, one of the ideas that Topps came back with was the 1951 set, and kind of giving it a facelift for 70 years later in 2021. So it's cool because those cards are, for anyone watching the video, it's a very prominent, headshot portrait. And then there's a small figure up in the corner, but most of the card content is this portrait. And I think that plays well to my style of art and the evolution and kind of direction that my cards are going. So it made a lot of sense. And it's also fun, getting the first product of 2021 for Topps to launch, before the Series 1 baseball and all the other stuff that we have to look forward to this year.
Yep, and I haven't. I've obviously seen it. I've ordered all 3 waves that can be ordered right now. Some to open, some to put away, maybe for a rainy day. Yeah. Yep. And I haven't got the first wave yet, but it's funny, like seeing the smaller cards. When I was younger in the hobby, I didn't like smaller cards. I noticed the older I get, my tastes have sort of changed, and I've got a thing for like Topps did the new 206s, and I've acquired even some of the originals where like I've kind of they kind of grew on me, and I actually like them if they're done well. And so it's interesting to see, some of those different size cards kind of come back into prominence in today's generation. And if you would have asked me 10 years ago, I probably would say, I don't like smaller cards. I'm not interested. And yet here we are, and I'm all in. So, how would you say it's going so far? Are you happy with, what's going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great. I think one thing that Topps did, I think, very well on this set is the price. So it was, it's $20, just like the Topps 2020 cards, but you're getting the full wave of 13 cards for $20. So it's 13 times cheaper than the Topps 2020. And so I think that's been helpful for getting, hopefully getting new people kind of involved in the set. The print runs have been really solid. The latest print run for Wave 2, which just was released yesterday, is 7,725, which is great. The first week was 7,679. Yeah, wow. So it even did better in Wave 2, which is, I think, really cool. It's fun to see that momentum.
And the price point, you nailed it. I mean, it's great. I mean, you're looking at 13 cards. That's less than $1.50 a card, and don't sleep on the fact there are parallels in this thing. You could get
cards.
Yeah, so you can get a numbered card, and so that's an added an enhancement as far as and at a $20 price point for 13 cards. I mean, if anyone argues with that, I don't know what to tell them. So
it's going to be hard for me not to open all of them because I got to go. With Project 2020, I didn't get any cards from Topps for free, but I did get a discount to buy them.
Yeah.
But I still had to buy them during the same window everyone else does. This time around, I was able to negotiate. I get 100 sets for free, and that's included in the print run.
Yeah.
But I have 100 boxes to open, but I get no discount. So if I want to buy more, I'm paying $20 just like everyone else. So the first wave, I didn't order any extra. The second wave, I ordered a couple extra because I feel like once they come and I just start ripping them open, I'm going to want to open them all,
Yeah. Another quick break, but we'll be right back with more Blake Jamieson. Let me tell you about Iron Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're your number one source for all your PSA submissions. They offer various service levels at the lowest prices around. They even provide the card savers your cards need to be submitted at no extra charge. Their elite status helps improve turnaround times, and their chat rooms keep you abreast of your subs and the status of your cards. What are you waiting for? Contact Rob on Facebook on Iron Sports Card Group. That's Iron Sports Card Group on Facebook. Or get a hold of Rob on Twitter at Iron Sports Cards. All one word, at Iron Sports Cards. They'll take care of you. We are back with more from Blake Jamieson. Without having them in hand, just from the gallery and the spec sheets, and I mean, it's going to be fun for me to open some. Like you said, I might have to, as soon as I get them, the ones I don't plan on, I just got to hide them. Otherwise, if they're visible, I might be tempted to. But and you are one of the subjects in this set, by the way, yourself. Mm-hmm. You have a card. Speak to that.
Yeah, so it's the same art that's on the box of the cards. We decided to make an artist chase card, and so for each wave there will be 100 of those printed, numbered 1 to 100, and then I think in each wave, like, they're going to have a different color back. So there were red backs, blue, green, and gold, and so I think there are going to be 100 of each of those colors, which is really cool. So there'll be 400 Topps cards of me in circulation total.
Yeah. So you'll be chasing your own insert, your own parallel.
Absolutely.
That's funny. And that's you painting you, right? I mean, that's that. What is that like? Like,
cool.
Now let me ask you before have you ever like done that before? Just even fooling around?
Yeah. I've done self-portraits, not every year, but often. Every couple of years I'll do one. It's fun. And it's like a tradition, I think artists do that a lot. They'll paint self-portraits, and it's to me, I think it'll be fun, in 10, 20, 30 years to look back at kind of the timeline of progression of those self-portraits.
The evolution of Blake, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, maybe I'll get one of those Blake 100s in what I open, but it'll be fun to see people, as they get them. I'm sure you're going to be tagged in every one of them. You know exactly where they all are. So,
yeah.
but that'll be fun.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And so you've said this yourself. You've kind of gotten into jump kind of head first into collecting yourself again due to being involved in these projects. Speak to that. What are you not to give you more competition and to buying things, but kind of where are you collecting? Obviously, I'm probably a safe bet is McGuire, but what else kind of do you look for with personal collection?
Well, Mark McGuire is definitely my biggest PC. I also collect Buster Posey, who I really like. He's also in my Project 70 set. I have a couple football players that I collect, Josh Jacobs and Miles Sanders, both guys that I did done a handful of paintings for each of them, so I'm just big fans of both of them. Brandon Ayuk, who's a new who's just a rookie for the 49ers. He's solid. Solid.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm collecting. I have some cool cards of him, so I think I'm going to start a Ayuk collection. So it's a lot of everything that I collect is all just for fun, just for myself. It's never to flip. The only cards that I sell are my own, obviously the signed ones or not signed ones. Although I do like, my collection grew so much in 2020 and I bought so many Project 2020 cards that I might start trading those, to fill gaps that I still need to fill, or, maybe for some of these artist chase cards, if someone needs Fuji Cal Ripken or whatever that I have and they want to trade for it, then great.
Yeah. Interesting. That's awesome. Now, I know, but some people probably think, hey, Blake was born with the Topps Project 2020. You were an artist before that doing work. How has all these projects affected some of that commission stuff or that stuff you do that's aside from that? How do you balance that out now? I mean, you're probably at an all-time busy. I think it's a safe bet to say.
Yeah, I think it's definitely it's been great for business outside of, Topps snowballs into other things. It's a household name that most of my previous, clientele was already professional athletes and their agents and people related to professional sports. So those guys and girls see Topps project and it gives me credibility. And so, I know that the business has grown because of that. But also, I spent a lot of time in 2020 creating art for Topps, that would get licensed to Topps. That was time that I could have spent working with other individual athletes. So I didn't paint for as many athletes in 2020 as I did the year before. But I feel like the caliber of athletes that I'm working with that are finding me and wanting to commission things is increasing. My prices increased in 2020 to kind of balance out the commission pipeline. So it's been great overall.
Yeah. We've seen one of the Project 2020 artists, Tyson Beck, kind of branch out and create his own line of basketball cards. I think he did very well with them, kind of negotiated that all on his own. Is that something maybe not right away, but somewhere down the line, could that be we see Blake Jamieson do something along those lines, or even other people? Obviously, you can only speak for yourself, but do you think we're going to see more of that or something you would consider doing?
I would. I think, and Josh Jacobs is a great example. He's, somebody I painted for and that I do have a personal relationship with. He's a great, very talented, guy. So if I were to do a Tyson Beck-esque kind of thing, that's probably where I would try to start. I'm not in a hurry to do it because I think It's good and bad. It's good because it's, I think he did well financially on it. It's really good for his brand and awareness, and, building relationships with those basketball players. Fantastic. I do think there are repercussions that you can't go back from. So for like Panini, for example, who prints basketball cards, can't be happy about that. And so Panini probably wouldn't ever want to work with Tyson. Not necessarily that I want to work with Panini. I just don't know if I'm at a point where I want to
burn those bridges.
Burn the bridge, right? So I don't know. That's the fun thing about being an artist, is there's actually so many different ways to make money from your art or spread your art into more, homes. And they're not all just straightforward creating a painting and selling it to a person, So that's been a fun thing to navigate and plan for in 2021.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We don't, until you said it, I didn't even think of that angle, that you might, what you do, there's a ripple effect that might prevent a future collab that may be there that won't be by doing that. So something you don't always think about in the moment, if you will, but good point by you. So coming down the home stretch, let me give out that contest word. So that contest word is going to be, I'm going to go out really outside the box here. It's going to be McGuire. McGuire is that contest word. So if you're listening to the show, private message me, email me, however you get a hold of me. I'll put whoever you are, I'll put you on that list. We'll randomize it. And again, that person on the top of the list will win that Waves 3 box courtesy of Blake. And again, thank you, Blake, and good luck everyone out there, to entering. So, kind of coming down the home stretch, I'm also, as I always do, this is your third time. This is old hat for you now, but just some closing thoughts, and then where people can get all your stuff, websites, URLs, Tops 51, whatever. No rush. Take your time. Whatever you want to talk about or give out, the floor is yours, as I always say.
Cool. Yeah, well, best place to get in contact if people want to have a question or want to chat is Twitter. I'm super active on Twitter. My handle's @BlakeJamieson. YouTube is where I stream a lot of content, and soon I'll be publishing the edited content that we talked about. There's going to be a lot more edited videos this year, which I'm super excited about. And then my website is blake.art, and that's where I sell my art and prints and collabs and signed cards. And then you can get 1951 at tops.com.
That's awesome. Yeah. And if you haven't seen, Blake on YouTube, it's interesting. Sometimes he makes me very tired the next day because I get up at 4:30. So I blame you for that. Sometimes I lose track of time. I'm like, oh, I got 4 hours of sleep I can get now. So, but that's a testament to how interesting and awesome it is. And if you haven't checked that out yet, definitely, it's a kind of a behind the scenes look that not a lot of these artists, quite frankly, are letting people in. You do, and I enjoy it, and I know a lot of other people do the same. So if you haven't checked it out, make a point to go do it. The Tops 51s, again, without having them in hand, I love them. I can't wait to get my hands on them, and those are out there on Tops's website as well. So go scarf them all up. Maybe you'll pull a Blake 100. So,
yeah, awesome. Thank you, John.
All right, thank you, Blake. We'll have you on again.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Stay awesome.
All right, you too. One of One Card Shop offers a tremendous breaking experience, great customer service, and they're constantly pulling fire. Steve and his family take care of you like one of their own and treat you right. Anyone can break, but no one treats you like One of One. Come check them out on Instagram at one_of_one_card_shop. For all the hot breaks, get a gold mailer headed your way.
I know the chunky that left these chunkies. Newman!
Sports Card Nation. All right, it's time for Newman's Rambling, where I select one question I get each week and answer it on the air.
John, you seem like an astute man.
Thank you, Mr. Walken.
Maybe you can help explain something to me.
Well, I'll give it my best shot. All right, so a lot of times in these segments, I like to pick a question that I get asked numerous times by a few people, and this week is one of those times. And so it's not attributed to any one person. It's what I guess I get asked sometimes on numerous platforms. And, the question is, hey, I followed you. I like the show. How could you follow me back? Or why didn't you follow me back? And I do try to follow people back that do follow us, and I appreciate everyone who follows us. But if I don't follow you back, please don't take it personal. It's not done intentionally. But a lot of times, it depends on the day too. Sometimes, we got, I believe, almost 5,000 followers now on Twitter, almost 2,000 on Instagram. When someone, I have those days where you get 20, 25 different followers that day, and I'm very appreciative of that fact. But when you get that many, sometimes folks slip through the cracks, or I don't follow everyone back. Again, not done intentionally. Please do not take any of that personally. I do try to make an effort to follow everyone who follows the show back. The other piece of advice I can give you there with getting a follow back is be active. In other words, if we post something on social media and you comment on it or like or retweet, I can see like, hey, follows you, and and it says follow back. I'll usually hit that follow back button. So being sort of active with us, banter with us, definitely, will get you noticed. Truth be told, full disclosure, and always try to follow those folks back as well. But if I don't, it's not personal. You can feel free to message me, say, hey, I'd love a follow back, and definitely hit you back in that respect as well. All right, it's time for the in memoriam segment of the show. Two former baseball players we lost this week. February 2nd, Grant Jackson, longtime 17-year veteran closer for the Phils, Yankees, Orioles, Expos, Royals, and for who he's most notably known for playing, won a World Series ring for them in 1979, the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was 86 and 75 with 79 saves in his career. Grant Jackson has passed away. On February 3rd, utility man as his career goes, played for the Senators, the New York Giants, and the Kansas City Athletics, and my Brooklyn Dodgers even for a year. Wayne Terwilliger, but he was most notably known for being a longtime veteran coach, over 40 years as a coach in the bigs and the minors. I even remember him going to Florida for spring training in '83. He was one of the Ranger coaches, and I remember him. He passed away February 3rd at age 95. Wayne Terwilliger. All right, that's going to do it for another episode of Sports Card Nation. As always, thank you out there that listen to the show. Whether it's your first time, you found it on the Spreaker platform, or you've been a long-time listener or fairly long-time listener, we appreciate you. We don't exist without you out there, and my hat's off to you, and thank you. I want to thank my guest, Blake Jamieson. Great insight into his work with Topps and his new releases, his Topps 51. He's given a Wave 3 away. Listen to that. If you didn't catch it, listen to the interview. We gave you a contest word. That word we gave you, please get it to me, whether it be via private message, direct message, email, kind of keep it on the QT. All those that get that contest word to me, I'll put you on a list, and we'll randomize it, roll those dice, randomize the amount of times on the dice, and whoever's on the top of that list is going to win a Wave 3 1951 Blake Jamieson box or part of the set. And want to thank him for doing that for us and for you out there. And good luck to all those who enter. Check out our website, our Sports Card Nation podcast website at www.sportscardnation.net, sportscardnation.net. You can get all the release schedule, all our current shows, our past shows, what's kind of coming up, and that sort of thing. We appreciate the support. Check out our sponsor links there as well. Thank you to them. Without them, we also would not be able to give away and do the things that we love to do so much. Hobby Hotline every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. A rotating host schedule. And we've got about 10 different hosts every Saturday. It's a live show, so you can call in and come on the show as well. If you don't catch it live, you can download the audio podcast version of it as well. Remember, Mondays now, our shorter show, Hobby Quick Hits, me and one topic from 15 minutes to 30 minutes, and that's it. Comes out now every Mondays. We moved from Wednesdays over to Monday. So Monday, Hobby Quick Hits. Friday, this show that you're listening to right here. I want to announce next week's guest ahead of time. I mentioned it during the Hobby Rundown, but I'll say it again. It's Ezra Levine from Collectible. He's going to tell us about the fractional shares market, how that's booming right now, just like everything else in the hobby, what they're going to be doing in the future as well. And again, that secondary market that they're going to debut. A matter of fact, when you're hearing this, may already be up and running. So definitely check Collectible out, and Ezra will be here next week to fill you in with all that info and insight. So with that being said, everybody, please stay safe, please stay well, and we'll see you either in a couple days with Hobby Quick Hits, or see you in a week for Sports Card Nation. Take care.